Hello, hello, this is Patty Joe. I know I look like hell. Getting over that first week of work. Ugh. Why did you put me on night shifts? That was so hard. I actually was in pain after the third one. And all of my training is night shift. So, and I was dumb enough to think I was okay, like after the second one when I was making my February schedule, so I put a few night shifts in there. You know what? I'm going to try to avoid that in the future. But here I am. I know it's been a couple of days. Yes, I have actually downgraded my headphones because the ones okay, I got to admit, I use a broken ring light from my grandson that I tape to my lamp. I have earphones that he didn't like because you had to plug them in. Those are now broken. So these are old school earbuds. That's what I'm using now. I'm a little too frugal, I think, sometimes. Hmm. So I was doing my testing and I was like doing I was on my other, I keep the one where we are alone and then I have another one with other, sometimes when I watch other videos, because I don't have a TV. So if I want to kick back and watch something or listen to something, I just do it on YouTube. And I was, flipped over to that one so that I could do the testing round. And here, so you don't have to see me too much. It could just be in the background. And it was Darrell whining, and I was like, "Yeah, Darrell." And I tested the sound on the YouTube, and I'm like, "Okay." And Darrell, you're a prissy little bitch. That's what he is. All right, you guys have been talking my ear off on these comments. I love it. Okay. There is, oh, Miss Ruby, yes, so many. Okay, I'm going to go from now backwards. So from the most recent, which is 12 hours ago, backwards. Yabril, I don't know what your name is, totally. Do you guys think he is one of the worst people? Oh, no, I don't even have to finish that. Do we think he's one of the worst people in the world? In the universe. Okay, there is no doubt in my mind. This is a subhuman monster. Okay, I don't know how to say this without getting myself into trouble because now that I have a job, I have to be careful what I say online. But I used to explain to people that yeah, I never minded picking up the homeless population or the addicted population in my district because their behavior was always consistent. I always knew what I was getting into. Okay. I hated going to like the the bar location, the hot spots where people go on the weekends, and we're in college, so this is supposed to be a rite of passage to go to this really cool spot and get hammered, and those are the people that I couldn't stand. I would just You walked over to the bar and gave that person all that money and got poop drunk until you are laying on the sidewalk, unable to protect yourself, and you have four police officers guarding you to make sure people don't run over your head as they steal your car. And you want me to carry you and clean up your vomit? Like, no. But if you got me in front of one of like the homeless people or the people who were chronically addicted to something, I'd pick them up all day long. All day, all night long. I had no that was just their life. It's almost as if they were reduced to what the drugs and alcohol and all the living outside did, reduced them to human or to children, or maybe even less than, because they would think it was perfectly normal to poop on the sidewalk in front of traffic. Like they no longer had the social construct rules embedded in them like we did as we were growing up. I don't know what the hell we're doing to this generation, but well, you know what I mean. They actually needed the care and assistance to be brought in. And the more you bring them into something civilized, the closer you get to maybe getting them some help. But do I think he is one of the worst people in the world? Yeah. And I've seen some pretty bad people. Oh, thank you for telling me. Oh, this is not so dumb anymore, just plain. And it trails off, so I'm reading these off my phone because I'm not savvy enough to read them off the computer. It says, oh, your fur baby is so cute. She knows. She knows she's cute. Here's a picture of her. It's my fur baby. Her name is Harley because she loves to hear my motor. She doesn't like to get on the motorcycle. She won't. So I actually took the back seat off. But she loves to hear the motorcycle. And if she's at the dog park with one of my neighbors and I ride up on my motorcycle, she knows it's me. She knows my motorcycle over everybody else's. So that's my little Harley. So you say, oh, your fur baby is so cute. She probably does think you are going out there with her. Yes, she does. She does. She's like, come on, Mom, let's go. You can do it. Yeah, and she does. She does. I'm surprised she's not up here now bothering me because I slept in. Okay, moving on. I'll do a few of these. And this the same person. I definitely agree with you that he does that crap on purpose, putting it on the record so she just can't answer him right in front of everyone. Yes, so when the jury's coming in and he starts mumbling, he goes from a regular interaction to all of a sudden this, weird like they're not answering him interaction, like this pretend conversation that's not even happening, and he's doing that in front of the jury. He just didn't like her response. And the more he doesn't like what he gets, the worse his behavior gets. It's ridiculous. He just didn't like her response. He did the whole trial, especially with her subject matter jurisdiction. Oh, yes, he ignores the answers when he doesn't like it too, doesn't he? She's over there because I made some breakfast. She thinks there's something on the floor for her. He does it all the time. He only wants fair when it's fair to him, right? He only wants it on the record and the record clear when they're avoiding his past criminal behavior and stuff like that. Well, you just don't know what happened. Follow the law correctly and flips out. It's not fair. That's what a child says. That's what a child says. Ridiculous. Totally love that. You actually got replies on that. Yeah, there's very little she could do to rule in his favor. He tries, and he's ridiculous. You're definitely right. That's coming from John towards that person. But that wasn't her problem, in my opinion. I got it. I'm not that cool. He tried to bully everyone. It's the narcissism. He tries to bully, and especially when they're with him, he's very misogynistic. When it's not fair, when he was not getting his own way. It's not anyone's fault. He chose to represent himself. Yes. Yeah, because they wouldn't do the soft sit crap. Not that he understands it, but moving on. Okay. Love that she doesn't even look at him. Stephanie and her husband. Okay, so Stephanie, the lady, and then the husband that was driving the float truck for them, had just met Jane. Oh, that day. I didn't know that. And Jane is the lady that he hit that flew up on the hood. And then he slammed on the brakes to get her off because how dare she do that? And, what is she trying to get a free ride? And then he runs over her. I hate to say this, but the thunk, right? Like, how can you not know that was deliberate. They could have skipped everybody else's and just did that testimony. And that alone was so egregious in my eyes. They just work at different branches. I hope he's watching too. I hope he watches all of the ones that reviewed this trial. I do, because some of them are way more clever than I am, and can edit this stuff in. They edit like cartoons and stuff. They're ridiculous. She's very emotional. It's hard seeing something like that. Though, are you talking about Stephanie? And maybe she does such a good job, but she can't even look at him. I feel so bad for her. And like I said, I think I said it in the video, I hope she's getting support for her PTSD on that. Psychology, not, I know she's getting family support and community support, but does she need any other support? Whatever she needs. She doesn't need it, great. But if she does need it, I certainly hope she's getting it. Let's move along here. I'm prattling on too much, but these comments I love, and I've got a lot of them to go through. But as you can see, I do read them. Do read them all. I didn't advance it. Okay. Okay, there we go.
I'll take that as a yes for the record, Your Honor.
That's not either, sir. I'm not answering
You didn't
that.
reply.
Then reply.
Remember, non-response is consent.
The court is not on the same level as you, Darrell. You're like down below hell. Like the devil doesn't even want to let you in.
All right, thank you, everyone. Please be seated.
Woo, that's
Statement
loud.
called to next witness.
The state would call Heather Rashadi.
All right, good morning. Ms. Rashadi, if you would please make your way to the witness stand. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
Heather Rashadi, Heather Riccioti.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Ms. Rashadi, I want to direct your attention to November 21st of last year. Were you at the Christmas parade held on Main Street in the city of Waukesha?
I was.
Who were you there with?
I was there with my 3 children.
How old are they?
At the time, they would have been 7, 5, and not quite 2.
Do you recall where you were seated or standing?
We were on the corner by the steaming cup.
Okay. I'm going to ask that Exhibit 51, which was previously admitted into evidence, be published to the jury.
Objection.
Permission granted.
Ma'am, do you see the area highlighted on the screen in front of you? Actually on the table right in front of you.
Oh,
Sorry.
yes.
Okay. And does that look familiar as the steaming cup?
Yes, we were on the paver
So is this
portion
little
of the
cup thing
corner
right
there.
Okay. Can you circle or put an X in the area that you and your 3 kids are at, approximately?
Sure.
Just a
Touch screen, okay. So I would have been a little bit further back from my kids, maybe like over here. And my 2 older kids would have, they were in the street right about there.
And at some point, were you standing? I'm sorry.
I was standing and
Because we already have seen this corner. We know 2 kids were hit here. So hopefully these guys ran out of the way. Let's take
my
a listen.
youngest was in a stroller with me.
And the other 2 kids, were they in the street?
Yep, they were with the other kids that were just waiting for candy from the floats.
Were their kids on like your right side as you're watching the parade?
They were kind of just in front of me, a little to the side though, yeah.
Okay, thank you. What was that the approximate area that your kids were standing?
Even out probably a little bit further.
Miss Ruby, I'm right with you. I would have. I'm always screaming, "What's a license place? What's a license place? What is he talking about?" We'd both be in trouble. We'd both be in the at respective corners of the room, not talking to anybody.
And we're like a little bit further than where I circled.
Did anyone raise a concern about where they were standing at some point during the parade?
There was concern about it. A police officer had come by and actually moved all the kids back a little bit. And there was another mom there, and her daughter was near my kids. And she had actually said to me, gosh, they're out a little bit far. And I said, everything's going so slow, they're not going to get hit. They'll be fine.
So at some point during the parade, was your attention diverted from what was the floats and the participants and the spectators to something else? Was your attention drawn away?
Yeah, there was one point when there was a break in the actual parade, and an SUV came down the road, and it was coming faster than any parade float should have been coming, so it was confusing, and I didn't know what was happening at the time, but it did veer into the crowd just right in front of me where my son got hit.
Okay. So first of all, can you draw an arrow on the direction that the vehicle was going?
Sure. It was coming from this way.
Okay. And what direction, if you can kind of follow that line, what direction was it going as you said it veered towards you?
It wasn't going straight. It was just kind of like, and then it just kind of went in this way and ended up right about there.
So there were all kinds of kids here. Because he hit hers, and then the two others, the one that he broke the foot. He's a disgusting, icky man. Grinch that stole Christmas from the Grinch.
Were any of your kids, one was in a stroller that was by you, up on the ledge.
Trash goblin.
Yeah, further back.
Were either of your other two kids struck by the SUV?
My middle son, Owen, was struck by the SUV when it came through.
And Owen is 7?
He was 5 at the time. He's 6
Oh my
now.
gosh.
Okay. That's exactly
He's the
what
middle
I'm doing.
one.
I'm just touching to make sure that you know that
Kindergartner.
It's hard to keep them straight, but I sometimes do.
Thank you. Did you see the path of travel after the SUV came towards you and hit Owen?
I didn't, because I gathered up my kids as fast as I could, and we had parked in the public lot down here, and so I just gathered them up as fast as I could, and we just ran to the car and to get out of there. There was a lot of chaos.
Again, as a first responder, as somebody who would be coming into something like this potentially, I actually like people who clear out. The ones who stay and stare, if you're not helping or doing something or going to be helpful, if you're just frozen, please try to move to the area where we have people to help you, because you are in the way. Like I keep going back to that one guy I had who was a pedestrian struck, and it's not anything like this. He wasn't like any of these victims. Not that he wasn't a victim. He definitely was. This poor guy who is completely strung out on drugs. He actually isn't high at the time. He is dressed in all of these day glow colors. It's dark and late at night, and we get a call that someone was struck. We go to the location and we couldn't find anybody. Nobody's there. We go around the block. We make sure to go to the next block, because oftentimes dispatch will send us to the wrong place. So for a variety of reasons. But we then clear the first request. A second request comes in with an address very close to that. We go, and there's a door open to one of the houses that they use for like boarding rooms for the people who are either still using or trying to get off drugs. I don't know how that helps them. But anyway, I go inside there, and that's where they had come out and taken him inside, which is why we couldn't find him in the first place. So as we are that is where my point is for this one. I'm sure you'll hear about this patient again, but that is where my point is. They actually were trying to help, and they moved him. Now, that created some complication for me, and his addiction also created some complication for me, because I have to make sure what my injuries for the patient are before I move him, and that way, if I move him and hurt him, I know what they are, that I can report. He was moving before, and then after we moved him, he's not moving this now. I can do that, which is very important to do. It's very important for the trauma centers to know these things. And so, but when people move somebody like that, I actually don't have like judgment. They're trying to help. And in her case, her help is to remove herself from this, because there is enough people for them to deal with. So good on her. But of course he'll make it. Something
and
evil.
Screaming and crying. And
Did you, what injuries did Owen receive?
he ended up needing 6 stitches. He had a gash on his eye, above his eye, like in his eyebrow. So he needed 6 stitches because it was pretty deep. They couldn't just glue it or anything like that.
Now, you put your hand above your right eyebrow. Was it above his right eyebrow?
Yeah.
Okay. And where were the kids facing, if you recall, right before the SUV came and struck Owen?
They were waiting for the next float, so he was
They were
turned
looking
facing
towards-
the way the floats were coming, because there wasn't anything going on at the time. They were just waiting for the next thing, so they were just watching for the next float to come by.
So I'm assuming his
So he was-
body...
Yeah, he was turned.
Okay, thank you. Did you get medical attention right away?
I dropped my youngest and my oldest off at home, and then I quickly took Owen to WAUKESHA Memorial.
And that's where he was treated?
That's where he was treated.
Did you see, first of all, what color was the SUV?
It was a maroonish red.
Okay. Did you notice anything distinctive about it other than it was a maroonish red SUV?
No,
Did you see the vehicle prior to it striking Owen strike anyone?
I didn't.
Did you see the vehicle strike anyone after it struck Owen?
I didn't.
They're taking all the wind out of his sails. They're asking all of any question that would be relevant. Not that that's like completely relevant, because there's so many other witnesses and videotape. And like I said, if you're going to commit all these basically murders, why would you do it in front of everybody? Oh my gosh. All right, I may have to take a break here, because that is Harley's Peeps. So I'm going to pick this up in a few. Thank you so much. I will post this one and then continue this testimony later. Thanks for being patient with me.